This is Seattle's Morning News. A few weeks ago, we talked with Ari Cohn, who runs a program called the Post-Prison Education Program. The idea is that typically what happens is someone serves their term, they're released with a little money and maybe bus fare, and then that's it. No way to earn a living, sometimes no place to live. So what do you think is going to happen, right? So what he has done is to prepare prisoners for their release. And one of the people who participated in that program is Shelley Kleier. And Shelley, tell me your story in a nutshell, if you can.
Prior to 2010, I got a total of 14 felonies into prison, 3 times total. I had a pretty rocky childhood, and I grew up in a drug house. Everybody around me were drug addicts. If they weren't nodding out from heroin, then they were up all night from meth. And my mother's passed away now. She died of an overdose. Yeah. And it has kind of turned into a product of my environment.
The first time you were arrested, the second time you were arrested, were you ever thinking at the time, I got to get myself out of this? Or, I mean, what was going through your mind?
Honestly, I didn't. Not until the very last time I went to prison.
Is that when you met Ari Cohn?
Yes. Yeah, and it was a complete fluke. Like, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And I hadn't even put myself down on the program list to go. He goes into the prisons, which I now go in with him to prisons and talk to inmates. So when that was scheduled and he had come into the prison that I was at that time, it was my roommate that had signed up to go to it. She said, well, you should come. And I was like, I'm not on the list. She was like, just come, man, just come. And so I ended up going, and everybody spoke about the program, and we did questions and answers, and it really piqued my interest and gave me a little bit of hope.
So you followed through, and you got training as a welder?
Yes.
Wow.
I've worked for the same company since 2011.
Now, getting that first job, I understand that it can be pretty tough with a prison record, especially one as long as yours, to get that job. So what made your employer trust you enough to give you a chance?
I just said, look, I've had a really rough road, and I'm ready to change it. I have some things on my record that might make you not want to give me a chance, and I'm asking that you do, and you won't be disappointed. I'm a hard worker. I'm a really quick learner, and everything I said came true. You know, like, wow. I'm one of the favorites at my company. They love me to death. I've got more welding certs than most people there. I'm good at what I do, and I show up, and I work hard, and I'm an asset.
And you've now, of course, you're trying to help other people do the same thing. What's the secret? Can you tell me what it was that got you finally, after however many times in prison, to take that first step? Because that's really what's required, right? At some point, you have to wake up and say, this won't do. I have to make a change.
I was reading a book, and it made me think of my childhood, and it made me think of the memories that I had of my mom and my different family members, and it made me think of my kids, and I didn't want them to have those same memories of me, and I wanted to give them a hope, and I wanted to show them that people are capable of change, and I wanted to give them something better than I had. My children were definitely my motivator.
Yeah. If there is somebody right now who has come to the decision that you did, I need to change my life, since you've worked with the program, is it available to those who finally make the decision?
To be an active participant, you actually have to have been incarcerated, but anybody can call them. Anybody can call them and ask them for help, like setting up an email, how to fill out a FAFSA application. They'll sit on the phone with you for freaking 2 hours, if it takes 2 hours, and walk you through how to fill this out and what to mark in this box and what to mark in that box so that you can get approved for the grants to get you into school. You're more than welcome to come into the office and use the computer. You don't have to be in the program to do that, and they'll help you there on the spot also. So, I mean, there is lots of help to be offered even if you're not in the program. It's more so just not the funding if you're not an active member. There's an application to join the program, and in that application there's a whole series of questionnaires and this and that, but the thing that stood out to me the most is they ask you to write a 1,000-word essay about why you should be accepted. What about your story makes you exceptional that you're actually going to succeed, right? And I had to write a letter to the judge, too, to get, I got a DOSA sentence. And a DOSA sentence is a Drug Offender Sentencing Act. And they weren't going to give me even a plea bargain. And I went over the prosecutor, and I went over my attorney and everything, and I wrote a letter to the judge telling them about my story, too, and asking to please give me a chance, because 2/3 of all my convictions were drug convictions. Mm-hmm. And never once had the courts, or anybody else for that matter, offered treatment, court-ordered treatment, suggested treatment, like no type of help at all. So this time I asked for help myself, and the judge gave it to me, and so did Ari in the program.
Well, I'm glad it worked, because it sounds like you've succeeded in a way that that most people wouldn't have expected, given the circumstances of your childhood. Shelley Kleier, who is a graduate of the Post-Prison Education Program. Shelley, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to Seattle's Morning News. I'm Dave Ross.
And I'm Colleen O'Brien. Thanks for listening to the show's podcast. We're happy you're here.
And you can keep up with the show and find some of the stories from today online at mynorthwest.com.